But that ain't what I want to talk about too long. I want to get into BJ Armstrong and Hoop Genius podcast. Him and his co-host. First of all, this podcast is a go-to podcast. First, BJ Armstrong, man. I've used his clips numerous amount of times, man. This dude, if y'all not listening to Hoop Genius podcast, man, y'all got to, man. Go to their YouTube channel, Hoop Genius podcast, and subscribe. Man, BJ Armstrong set this episode on freaking fire. He set this episode on fire, man. I got 3 or 4 clips I want to play you, and 2 of them are long. So I apologize. I had to pause it and then speak. But he talked to, I mean, first of all, this was almost an hour podcast, and it started out a little slow, but around the 5-10 minute mark, BJ Armstrong went off. I mean, he went off, and his co-host was like, well, what about this? And BJ Armstrong just went off on modern day basketball, went off on Adam Silver. He didn't say it by name, went off on the front office guys that's messing the NBA game up. He went completely off, right? In a professional way. But man, he dropped some gems. All right, so it started with his co-host asking him about Adam Silver saying something about dropping the minutes down to 10-minute quarters to try to help the game a little bit. And BJ, we got a little bit annoyed. And he spoke on what he think happened to the NBA. Well, I just play it. I'll let you hear it.
You found the recipe that people like. You changed the recipe for what reason? I've said this. You changed the entire rules of the game somewhere in the mid-90s. You start tinkering with the three-point line. Then you tinkered with it, and then you brought it back. And then you start tinkering with the rules. Was it the players? It was the rules committee. You start tinkering with it. Is there a why? We're constantly stating to the numbers, but what's the substance of what we're doing here? If you're going to tinker with the game, improve the game. Tell me why. It's kind of like coaching. You tell me to run a play, but you don't tell me why. Well, why are we running this play? Just because you're the coach and I'm the player doesn't mean that I don't have the right to ask you why. I have the right to ask you why. You as a coach, that should be why you are an excellent teacher. You're telling the audience, you're telling your students why. What's your reasoning for tinkering? Has anyone ever said anything? We say these things. Let's change the rules. Let's change this. Then we justify it always by numbers and all those things. I don't know why. However, what I do know, there was an era here in America where this was the most unique game as far as basketball in the world. You got 7-game series, 24 shot clock, the defensive rules, 82 games. Why? Why, Mo? What happened? Why did they change those rules? Then all of a sudden people aren't watching, and then we justify by saying, well, the numbers are the same. Is that the number? Is that what it is? If that's what it is, then that's what it is. I'm not here to comment about it, but just tell me why. Like, just tell me why we did it. Because it was at an all-time. We had perhaps the most popular athlete on the planet. Mm. We had a game that was getting amazing reviews. Mo, you're half my age. So clearly something about it attracted you when you were a young person. Okay. What was wrong with it? Now all of a sudden, I don't want to come to the arena and watch teams host up 83s. So now I'm wrong? No, I liked what I liked. I believe.
So he made a good point, right? So in response to Adam Silver saying, I'm thinking about this, and I kind of like 10-minute quarters, and what pisses me off about that is, like, Adam, why do you like 10-minute quarters? Like, what are we trying to achieve by 10-minute quarters, right? Like when you hear people complain about the game and what we see, too many threes, no physicality, no defense, referees favoring stars, rigging games. That's what we don't like, right? And your answer is, well, let's keep the defense horrible. Let's keep the physicality out of the game. Let's keep jacking up threes. But if I drop the quarters down from 12 to 10 minutes, maybe that, like, how I don't understand how a smart man can come up with that as a solution based on what the complaints he's getting. We want defense. We want physicality. We want competition. We don't want these threes. We want people to compete even in the All-Star game. And you want to drop the minutes down. So that led BJ to say, okay, why? Just tell me why. So we can have a conversation and then make sense out of this. Why? Why do you want to do that? Right. And then he started talking about what we had before. He said, we had a perfectly fine game. Yes, the 60s and the 70s. I ain't even gonna say the 60s. Let's just say the 70s and the 80s was a little bit too rough. But once you kind of tweaked it in the 90s, it was perfect. It was too physical in the 70s and 80s. And in the 90s, it was still physical, but not too physical. It was physical, but not too physical. So it was physical enough where we could see defense reign supreme if you had really, really good defenders, but you could see really great offense overcome that great defense, like a Michael Jordan, right? Or Hakeem Olajuwon, right? That happens, right? But everyone was still playing defense. Everyone was still physical. So it was the best of both worlds, right? And it just wasn't a marriage of two things: great offense, great defense. It was also great marketing, and the league was like growing. It was everything. It was the perfect combination of everything. And they tinkered with it. That's what BJ is saying. They tinkered with it. Why? Why change it? We had the most popular player. The game was at its height. Like we've hit numbers in the 90s that we haven't hit yet still to this day. Like Michael Jordan's last game against Utah in the finals. Still the highest rated game watched in the NBA. Best player, great competition against Karl Malone, Stockton in the finals on the biggest stage. That's something, right? So he's saying, why tinker with that? Right? Why was it a need to tinker with that? And he tinkered with it. And he was like, I just don't understand why. Right? I don't understand why. Then this is where it really gets good. Right? Because he just couldn't stand hearing what his co-host was saying, which is funny because we just had this not last Friday, not 2 days ago Friday, but the week before, where we was on 4-Panel Friday and we was having this conversation about what's wrong with the NBA, what needs to be fixed. And we started talking about things that BJ is talking about, like, the league was fine. They took physicality out of it, blah, blah, blah. No defense. You have to bring those things back. And it's obvious because when you took it out of the game, that's when the game started looking like this. Excuse me, y'all. But when you took physicality and defense out of the game, that's when everything started changing. So obviously, if you want to go back to something looking good and being a better product, put those things back in the game. Right? That was simple enough for me. But my co-host said the same thing that this guy's going to say. Maybe it's the players not playing. And my thing is, okay, that might be an issue that we can address in some other conversation. But when it comes to what we see on the court being a bad product, it ain't got nothing to do with who's not on the court. Right? Like, if I'm watching a game that's horrible, and it's horrible because they're shooting 83s, playing no defense and no physicality, it doesn't match for me to say, well, the reason why all of that is happening is because there's about 5 or 6 players that's injured that's just getting free money. I don't see the connection, right? But they're going to have a conversation about that.
But let me ask you this. You talk about this golden era of basketball.
It's not golden era. It just is what it is.
Okay. But
it is what it is.
We'll take that how it is.
Better era. It is what it is.
How do we get back?
Mo, the teachers are you can't get back. There are no more teachers. How do we get back? Mo, how are you going to teach something you don't know about? The game is, Mo, you go to the court, the first team to 11 wins. What's hard about that?
We're talking about the NBA products here, though.
I'm talking about any product. Why do you play sports? We could sit here and window dress it. How do we get back? How do we teach it? Let's get the trainers and teach moves. Let's do all of this stuff. I don't want to hear about any more trainers. I don't want to hear any more about all of these guys. I don't want to hear about that. I want to hear your team versus my team. Let's compete. 1 ball, 12 players. Let's go. Team that wins stays on the court. Okay. That's it. When you have a why you play, it demands that you compete. When you have a why, you know who gets celebrated here? The guy who wins. Just that simple. What are we celebrating? Well, this guy's the most skilled player. Oh, this guy has the greatest moves.
Oh, this guy got triple doubles.
Okay. This guy, whatever they did. Mo, who wins? Who won? It's simple.
That's it.
Let me ask you something else.
So he started out talking about, okay, you talking about the golden age. No, it's not about the golden age, but it is the golden age. I mean, it is a better, version of basketball. Like, I mean, that's it. But he was like, man, stop calling the golden age, man. And like, quote unquote, like you mocking it. It is what it is. It was real basketball. It was better brand of basketball. This is a worse brand of basketball. It is what it is. Just call a spade a spade. And he's saying, look, man, the why is we're playing to compete and we're playing to win. If we're playing to win, and if I ask you why are you playing and you say to win, then everything has to go toward winning. Everything that we do, everything that we award, everything that we praise has to be geared toward winning. It has to equate to winning. We cannot celebrate who is the fanciest dribbler or the fanciest dunker or who gets triple double. We can't reward and praise that. Who won? That's because the thing is, everyone's trying to win, supposedly. Right? So if we all trying to be the king of the hill, we got to judge everything based on who was able to get to the top and be king of the hill. Right? So if we're all climbing this hill to get to the top and be the king of it, and the way I do it actually got me to the king of the hill and got me to the top, but the way you do it looks like a lot of effort. Like you're doing spin moves and you're doing backflips and all this stuff looks fancy, but you never get to the top of the hill. But I do. Obviously, what I'm doing is geared toward winning and getting to the top. What you're doing looks nice. That's what triple doubles are. Like you doing all of this. Here, look at my stats. Look at my stats. Look at my stats. True shooting percentage. PER. Look at all. Oh, look, I can do all this. I can get all these assists. Blah blah blah. Who's winning? Last I checked, Jason Tatum won. He's king of the hill right now. Jaylen Brown won. He's king of the hill right now. Take him off the throne. Last I checked, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum both play elite defense. And they both elite on offense as well. Last time I checked, they have a point guard, Drew Holiday, in charge of their assists. They're not trying to hog the assist numbers. Serious coaches don't coach like that. Real coaches don't coach like that. I would not make my best player, the one that I want to take all my shots, also be the one that's in charge of getting all the assists. Why would I do that? Jokic got lucky and 1-1 by doing that. He won't get back. Now everybody begging for him to get more help. Like I told y'all earlier, when the food is spoiled, you have to, if you want to eat it, you're going to have to add some type of seasoning to it or some type of sweetener. When the offense is nasty and spoiled, you're always going to need another player. That's the sweetener. That's the seasoning. The offense that Luka and Jokic run always look like they need more help. They will never be a team where we're like, oh, they're ready, they complete. They're always going to need more help. Jokic fans are asking for 2 All-Stars to replace Michael Porter Jr. and Jamal Murray. If you just look at the position, what point guard you go get to replace Jamal Murray? That's an all-star. Like, you can look at the all-star list right now and think about point guards. Who's on there? Steph, SGA. Who else? At point guard. Steph, SGA. Who else in the West? Can't remember all of them. Steph and SGA for sure. That's 2. So you tell me Jokic needs Steph or SGA to be a contender, and then need another all-star to replace Michael Porter Jr. So who plays small forward to make all-star this year? Siakam made all-star. Good luck with that. He ain't no spot-up shooter like Michael Porter Jr. All right, who made it on the East? Brunson, point guard. You want Brunson to replace Jamal Murray? I guarantee you Jamal Murray will go to New York and become an all-star, and Brunson will be just like Murray, not an all-star. You can't make all-star in an offense where you have one player doing everything. How can I make all-star if you're doing everything?
Do you believe that the place the NBA is in now, the contracts should be based upon how many games are played? Because I saw a stat last night.
Mo, I'm so done with these contracts.
No. Let me just listen to this. Joel Embiid, the league MVP a couple years ago, has been active for 446 games in over 10 and a half seasons.
Who the fuck cares?
Last night, he missed his 400th game.
Who the fuck cares?
He's played almost 50% of the games he's been available, or not been available for, but he's played almost just 50% of the games that he could have played in 10 and a half years, right? He's earned $266 million over his career. $126 million of those dollars have been earned while sitting on the bench.
Okay, so who are you blaming?
I'm not blaming anyone. I'm asking the question. I'm asking the question that if the contracts the players had were based upon incentives such as games played and wins and how far you get in the playoffs, not on individual awards, which they currently are, but based on these tangible attributes that you can bring to a team, would that encourage guys to make more of an effort? And I know injuries are
let me ask you.
Help,
let me
would that
ask
make
you,
them play more?
Let me ask you. Let's get to life. You know what? Because we're always pointing to the player's contract. We're always blaming the players. We're always putting this on the players. No, this is a league. This league is let's start with everyone that's participating in this business. You have the owners of the league. You have the executives who are making the decisions. You have the coaches who are teaching the game, and then you have the players who are playing in the game. Okay. If Mo makes a bad decision that affects the business that he's currently operating in, who should be held accountable who are making the decisions to pay these players? No one's telling you to pay these players. No one's telling you have to pay these players. No one is saying do this or else. Who is making the decisions? They have, on one hand, they have all the stats you could ever ask for. When it's favorable to their decision, to justify the decision, the stats become available. Then when the stats are not favorable to the decision, you start throwing people under the bus. I'm not blaming Joel Embiid. Who paid him and why? What's your why? Why did you pay him? If you buy a car and that car doesn't work, why'd you pay for it?
That's different because you'd have had to have known that the car has a history of not working.
Joel Embiid came into the league injured.
That's a history of not working.
Yeah.
Okay, then. So why did you pay him?
They paid him on the potential of.
There you go.
Every time we talk about, right? And this is what kills me with Embiid. Every time we talk about him, it's Joel Embiid is one of the best players in the world if he's healthy. Joel Embiid is an MVP caliber player.
No, I know. I'm not going to get on. No, this ain't about Joel Embiid. No. Why did they pay him? Let's hold them accountable.
Thank you.
The people who paid him, hold them accountable. This is not about Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid is fine. Hey, he wasn't healthy. If you're hurt, you're hurt. So why did you pay him then? Get those people to the mic. Here's the mic. The mic is hot.
Good question.
Tell me why you paid him. And then if he didn't play for whatever the reason may be, then they should be held accountable because that was the decision they made based on what? I'm not throwing these players under the bus. I'm not playing that game because I've been around these people way too long to know the game that's being played. No, I'm not playing that game. Why did you pay him? Tell me why. Give me your why.
He ain't gonna answer.
Give me your argument for why you recommended that he get paid whatever the number is, because I'm not counting other people's money. Why did you pay him? Because we know this is a business that there's a lot of money being exchanged. So why did they pay him then? Justify it. Explain to me. If I see something that's not performing, I want to know why I'm going to do it then. That's a simple question. When I go to the gym, I can tell you who can play. Potential has nothing to do with professional sports. I know the why. Who are the people making these decisions? Do they know the why? But why are they getting paid? Oh, well, I got the numbers. The numbers suggest, okay, I've been looking at stats my entire life. Stats, analytics, that doesn't faze me. Bring everything to the table. But when you make a decision, tell me your why. I'm not letting you get away, and I'm not going to throw these players under the bus. No. The people who are making the decisions step to the table. The mic is here. Why are they not held accountable? Why is it always the players here? Then we got the old school versus the new school. No. The divide and conquer is not working here. That game is over with. I've been watching this for over a half century now. That game is over with me because I know why. And I know why these people make these decisions. And I know how they do it, why they do it, when they do it. Okay, tell me why. I'm here. There you go. Here's the mic.
So here's the thing. This is what he's getting at. B.J. Armstrong, 3-time champion with the Bulls, played with Michael Jordan, played for Phil Jackson, played with Scottie Pippen, Horace Grant. Great player, made All-Star 1 year in Charlotte, I think. Worked in the front office, I think maybe for Golden State, maybe Phoenix. I can't remember which one. And he also worked as a sports agent. He might still be working as an agent. I'm not sure. Right. So he's been around, player, front office, agent. He's dealt with it. What his co-host tried to do is what I see a lot of people do. We're discussing an issue on how the NBA has changed the game and how it looks to us on TV on the floor. Right. So problem is we don't like what we see. And what people like to do is say, well, let's talk about what frustrates me. I hate that there's a player that has a contract, but he's hurt and can't play. Those two things don't match. The NBA changed rules. We just went over what BJ was saying. The NBA had a good product in 1990 all the way up to the early 2000s, had a good product. They changed their product. Now the product is bad. Why did you change the rules? Why won't you change it back? We're complaining about what we see on the floor. And the response to that from some fans is, well, Joel Embiid has collected X amount of dollars and he's only played X amount of games. What are we doing? Seriously, what are we doing? What does that have to do with the price of tea in China? Joel Embiid missing games. What does that have to do with the rule changes? So what BJ Armstrong is saying, first of all, they changed the rules. They're responsible for the league looking the way it looks. Right. So the first thing he said to respond to him was, we're not going to put this on Joel Embiid. Who changed the rules? Hold their feet to the fire. That's number one. Number two, if you're complaining about Joel Embiid having a contract and being too injured to play, he came into the league hurt. He didn't play his first 2 years. Trust the process. Then he got on the floor, had some good years. Then he started getting hurt again. Someone decided to pay him long term. Philly didn't have to do that. Philly could have said, we don't think you can stay healthy, so we're not giving you a 6-year contract. We will give you 2 years. And then Joel Embiid could have said, no, I want 6 years, and left Philly and went somewhere else. But at the end of the day, he and his agent negotiated with the franchise a contract. And they paid him a contract. And that contract says he will get paid even if he get injured. That's the game. You can't say that that's the reason why the product looks bad on the floor. Has nothing to do with it. Right? Now, when it's time for him to negotiate his contract again, if another team signed him to a 6-year deal, that's just what they did. It's not going to make the game look horrible. The game looks horrible because they changed rules. Has nothing to do with Embiid's contract or Ben Simmons' contract or Markelle Fultz's contract. It has nothing to do with no one's contract who's too injured to play. If they wasn't in the league tomorrow, we still would be watching a game with 83s, no defense, no physicality, no big man, no post game, no mid-range, no competition. Has nothing to do with the contracts at all. Then he said, I know why they do what they do. I've been in the rooms. I know why. Right? So when you really think about it, Philly, they sign Embiid. Let's say they pay him $200 million. They're no idiots. They got so many financial people that work for them. They're going to make that $200 million. I mean, I'm paying you $200 million for 6 years. I probably could get half of that back in 1 year off selling your jerseys when you don't get a piece of that. I get to make jerseys and sell them until the cows come home with your name on it. Because you're good, you're a superstar, you're an all-star. People are going to buy your jersey and your bobbleheads and anything else with your name on it. We own it. The $200 we're giving you for 6 years, I can get half of that back in 1 year. Not to mention the ticket sales we're selling by selling out this arena by you being on this team. Because as long as you're here, even if you play half the season, we are a playoff team. And there's nothing better than a team that can make money. You play 82 games a season, so that's 41 games at home. You got 41 games you get to sell out your arena, plus the playoffs. Some teams only got 41 games, but if I got Embiid, I'm going to be in the playoffs. First, second round, it don't matter. I get some more extra money. And then we sharing revenue. And I'm selling your jerseys. I'm making my money. So it makes sense to them in their head to pay this man $200 million. They can care less if he get on the floor for real, for real. It's not everybody that really want to win a championship. There's only one champion every year. And if you spend, I don't know, Golden State Warriors type money where you're paying the highest salary in the league and the luxury tax and y'all don't get to the championship, that's bad. Like if I'm spending way over my salary cap or way over the salary cap limit and I'm paying the luxury tax, right? and my team is not making the playoffs and making deep runs in the playoffs, yeah, I'm hustling backwards. But it's some people that's like, look, I ain't about to pay 2 superstars that much money and pay luxury tax. I'm a small market. I'm in Charlotte. I'm gonna just, put whatever team I can put together, make them good enough to where we can sell out the arenas. But hey, it ain't necessary for us to go to playoffs. I'm not about to pay that big of a salary for a playoff team like that. I'm gonna fly on the radar. We sharing the revenue anyway. I'm making money hand over fist because I'm not spending all my money. Right? I'm just right there at the salary cap, break even, and then we share revenue at the end of the season. Our profit. Right? You get what I'm saying? So they got it down to a science. If they're paying a player $200 million, they've already calculated how they're going to get that $200 million back very fast. No one's dumb. So don't feel sorry for no one. I don't know who misses out by Joel Embiid not making him available for the games. I don't know why anybody is more frustrated that Joel Embiid is not playing than they are at what the basketball game looks like on the floor. I don't know how that's possible. BJ continues.
I knew my game. I knew my role. I knew what I was going to do. Now, as long as I had the intention to win, what are you going to say to me? If my intentions is to win, now I got to, we got to get up 53s tonight. Why? Why, coach? Tell me why. Well, I got somebody coming by telling me, here are the combinations that best work on the court. Have you ever played before or you compete? Every game is different. Every night presents a different challenge. Tell me. I was a pro, Mo. I wasn't some guy who just played. No, I was a pro. I was a pro. That means I worked with other people to do my job. I had a job. This wasn't like some hobby. I don't want to hear what these people have to say. But if you're going to come and tell me what you say, tell me why. Tell me why. Tell me why you play. Tell me what formula works better than winning. Go. I'll wait. I'm not distracted by all these people. Tell me why. Tell me if there's another way for anyone to come together as a group. The ownership, the management, the coaches, and the player. Tell me there's another formula that's better than winning. Go. I'll wait. I'm a pro, Mo. That's the problem that I have. I don't disrespect people, but don't disrespect professionalism at an elite level. At an elite level, I knew professional people. And professional people do their job, whether they want to do it or they don't want to do it. I'm a pro.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree.
So when they start saying all those other things, you're not talking to me. You're not talking to me. I'm a pro. I'm a professional. You're not going to beat me with 83s. You know why you're not going to beat me with 83s? Because I know I'm abiding by the principles of competition. You're not going to beat me with this brand of basketball. Why? Because, Mo, I know I can make adjustments and you can't. I'm a pro. I demand excellence.
It's a worse brand of basketball. 5-man out, high screen and roll, drive, and kick. What's the adjustment? If I'm stopping it, or if you're missing your threes, what's plan B? What's the adjustment? They just continue to drive and kick, right? Turning up the intensity on defense and getting easy baskets on fast breaks is supposed to be part of the game. Transition, defending, stopping your man, right? Going in the post is part of the game. When you're driving and kicking the whole game, who wants to watch that? High screen and roll, driving kick, high screen and roll, driving kick for 4 straight quarters. Nothing but guards driving and kicking and big men just setting screens. No posts, no mid-range, no set plays, no floppies, no coming off screens, no double screens, no moving without the ball, no intensity on defense, creating early offense and fast break opportunities. It's just dribble, drive, driving kick, driving kick. And BJ is saying you can't beat me like that with just shooting 83s because I'm gonna go grab a Shaq or a player like that, and we're gonna go ahead and go down low. You either go foul or give up the 2 points.
These aren't new concepts. These concepts have been around since the 40s. This isn't a new brand of basketball, believe it or not. This is not the first time we've seen professionals. What has changed are the people who are influencing the game. That's what's changed. The mindset, the preparation has changed. The game hasn't changed. The greatest winners of all time all play defense.
That's true. The greatest winners of all time all play defense. Jordan, Bill Russell, Kareem, Hakeem, Tim Duncan, Garnett, Kobe. I mean, the list goes on. David Robinson, Rodman, Pippen, Dumars, Isaiah, Worthy, Bird, Magic to an extent. They play defense. The greatest winners play defense. It's a requirement. You look at now, Tatum and Brown, defense. Giannis, defense. The Warriors, when they was winning, defense. Iguodala, Draymond, Livingston, Clay, KD. Even Steph. Wade, defense. It's defense. Garnett, Pierce, they was playing defense. Great defense in Boston. Jimmy Butler, Kawhi, defense. They're playing D. How's that not part of every equation? Every praise, every award, every consideration for what greatness is in basketball must include winning, defending, and scoring. When we're talking about the greatest players. Are there some players that do it on one end? Yeah, but that one end has to be defense. Like if you decide that, because everyone's responsibility is defense. Everyone don't have to be involved in being a scorer on the offensive end. Right? But everyone has to defend. Right? If I'm trying to keep people from getting inside my house, everything has to be defended. Every window, every door has to be locked, first and foremost. But everyone don't have to be shooting out to stop people from coming in, right? That's the offense. Defense, everything has to be locked down. Lock all the doors, lock all the windows. Because if I'm shooting, trying to keep people out of the house, but the back door is unlocked, they're just going to come in through the back door. You can't have a weak link like that. You have to protect the house. But I can live with just 1 or 2 shooters if the defense is locked down. So everyone has to play defense. But you can be Dennis Rodman or Ben Wallace and play defense and be like, hey, on offense, I get these offensive rebounds and help set it back up. But we go worry about Rasheed and Chauncey Billups doing the scoring, or we go worry about Jordan and Pippen doing the scoring. I rebound and I play defense. You can do that as a one-way player, but you can't be a one-way offensive player and be a unlocked door on defense. How's your best player an unlocked back door? An unlocked front door for in Luka's case. I'm the front door and I'm unlocked. And not just unlocked, wide open too. Everybody know the door is open. You know, some doors are closed and unlocked. You don't find out it's unlocked until you actually turn the knob. Not Luka. Luka is mad for it. It ain't no door on the front door. The door is off the hinges, wide open, butt naked. That's Luka. Man, he's supposed to be the top 3 player in the league. Get out of here.
Mo.
Well, they all play for a start. They all play for
Bill
a start.
Bill Russell, the late Bill Russell, rest in peace. No one's won more than him. So why are we playing the exact opposite of him then?
Well, they've tried to figure basketball out as a mathematical equation. That's what's happening.
Well,
basketball
you
is
know what?
math.
I'm gonna sit on the sideline and I'm gonna wait for the experiment to be over with because I know what wins. I know what I like. I know what wins, and I know everyone who's played the game up until this latest version has played a similar version to that. Who had the concept of winning. I know why Magic Johnson played. I know why Larry Bird played. I know why Bill Russell played. I know why Oscar Robertson played. I know why Kareem Abdul-Jabbar played. I know the why.
But there are still guys, do you not think, that are in the same light?
We're talking about the game. We're not talking about guys. We're talking about the game. The game is a new version. The game now is predicated on offense. The game now is, when I go watch the game, I'm seeing all 7-footers shoot threes. Yeah, let me take Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and we got to shoot threes because that's the game. Tell me why, though. Here's a man that had the most storied career ever. You can argue he had the most storied career ever, high school, college, and pro. Now tell me why he's going to shoot a three.
Unreal. It's basketball.
Tell me how I can get on this microphone and tell me Shaquille O'Neal can't play in this era. Tell me why. Tell me why and make it make sense.
It ain't got nothing to do with the contracts.
You're talking to I'm a pro. I'm a professional. I do this for a living. I am a subject matter expert when it comes to this. I may not be a subject matter expert when it comes to other things, but this, okay, tell me why. And I'm open to learning new methods that will improve the game. Tell me why. Tell me why I would make Shaquille O'Neal shoot a three. Tell me why I would make Michael Jordan shoot threes. Tell me why.
Well, they'll tell you that 3 is worth more than 2.
Okay.
That's their whole logic.
Okay. And because I'm a competitor by nature, okay, let's play. Game on. Toss it up. And let's see who's going to win. I'm not here to convince you. Let's throw the ball up, put the raw meat out there on the court, and let's see who's hungry enough to go get it.
Yes,
because when you compete, it's me versus you. Okay, all right. This is a team that wants to shoot threes. Great. Good for us.
Where I stand on it is, I still believe there's a lot of players around the league who still want to compete. But the way they're being told to play feels a lot of times robotic. You know what I mean? It's like, this is what we do, and this is what we're going to do.
Here is my latest. I'm tired of talking about it. I'm going to go do something about it. I don't want to hear. I'm tired of looking at the game and tired of asking players, hey, I want you to play the game with a creative spirit. I want you to play the game. Hey, if someone gives you a 3, shoot it. If someone crowds you, go to the basket. I don't want to see a 2-on-1 and a guy pulls up from 3 because they by the analytics have to get up a certain amount of threes.
Yes, insane.
I don't want to see guys have an opportunity to drive to the basket and then we'll do a double step back to shoot a corner 3. Mo, I don't want to see that. So you know what I'm going to do, Mo? I'm tired of talking about it because I know. I'm not saying I know anything, but there's one thing I do know. You got to defend.
You got to defend.
You got to rebound, and you got to share that ball. And now my job is very simple as a teacher of the game. I'm not worried about the player of the game. Is to equip these young people with the necessary skills to operate and function under duress in a hostile environment. And what that means, Mo, it's me versus you. It's us versus that team. Let's throw the ball up and let's see who wants it.
Hey, I like that approach. And if you got to go and listen to that whole episode because it's so much more he said after that, man. He's talking about the coaches that think like that, like Ime Udoka. He's not asking his guys to throw up a lot of threes. Even when he was with Boston, he wasn't asking them to throw up a lot of threes. He wanted them to defend, right? That defense that made Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant look bad when they was in Brooklyn. That type of defense. Now he's doing it in Houston. Amon-Ra, I mean not Amon-Ra, but Thompson twin. Oh my God. I ain't seen a defender that he better than Ron Artest on defense. The way I'm looking at it, unreal. Right? Dylan Brooks. I mean, they all got that mentality. And it comes from the coach. Right? We got to have coaches like that. And what he's also said later on in the episode is that it's coming from the top. The way that they're playing the game now is coming from the top. The NBA front office is making the decision that they want the game to look like that. And it's trickling down to the front offices of the teams, and they're hiring coaches and GMs that have that same train of thought. And then the ones they are hiring, like J. Kidd, that don't have that train of thought, they're being instructed to coach that way, because that's what Mark Cuban did to J. Kidd. Mark Cuban had J. Kidd coaching that way. Now that you see Mark Cuban has sold the team, now you see J. Kidd trying to get back to his roots on defense. Got rid of Luka, give me a AD. They want to be a defensive team. You can't tell me they didn't watch what Tatum, Brown, and Porzingis and Orford and Drew Holiday and White was doing and to them in the finals, and they didn't just look at that like, man, I wish we had that. Man, I wish we could lock up like that. Man, I wish we could dictate pace like that. Pick up 94 feet like that. Right? Instead of having the front door off the hinges. Our first line of defense, just letting people in. We ain't got no chance. It ain't that much offense in the world. All right, so you got to listen to that episode. It was insane. It was insane, man. Masterpiece, man. I probably played too much of it. I apologize for that, man, but y'all got to go listen to that whole thing. That was insane.